what are server responses anyway? So a response happens when a server responds to your web request. A response happens after the request is made, so it always goes request and then response. And responses can be pretty much any format, but typically it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or plain text or JSON for like an API. If you don't know what an API is, honestly, that's okay. You can just ignore that bit. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about APIs, there are some cases where an API, also known as an application programming interface, will send XML or JSON formatted data. Now, typically it's kind of like plain text. It's not really specialized markdown too much. It has some rules, but not too many rules. But the nice thing about that is because it's sort of plain texty, that means there's not much to interpret and your browser can deal with this a lot faster. Or your server even could deal with this a lot faster and then render HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever it needs to do. Now, often JavaScript or a server programming language like Python is going to handle these API responses. Again, if you don't know too much about APIs, if you're brand new to web development, don't worry about this part right now. So as an example, when you load up Instagram.com, you're making a request to the website to load the initial data. As you scroll down, it loads more and more images dynamically so that the first request can always be small and fast. It really only shows you or tries to get like 2 or 3 images, but it's not going to save 1,000 images, or it's not going to ask for 1,000 images because that's going to be really slow to load. Your request is going to be a pretty small request payload, and that response is also going to be a fairly small response payload. And that just means that, for example, Instagram.com can load really, really fast. Now, as you scroll down the page, you're going to see that more images show up, and sometimes it's so fast you don't even notice. That second request, third request, fourth request, when you click load more on any website or you scroll down on Instagram, is usually an API endpoint that returns JSON or XML. And the reason is because both of them are a lot more lightweight than HTML. Then your browser reads the JSON response, for example. JavaScript takes over and it says, oh, I need to display more photos. And it dynamically creates your HTML structure for you and adds it to the page. And as soon as it's added to the page, your browser then takes over for JavaScript and says, oh, I need to make another request. And then the cycle repeats. The server says, oh, there's a request coming in for this particular image, serve that image. Now, on the topic of images and other assets like images, each one is likely to be its own request. So the browser creates a new request for each image file to download. The server sends a request with the image data, and again, your browser then displays that image. Though technically, there are ways to bundle responses together for a faster one-time payload response. This way, you can just ask the server once, and it will send all the images all at the same time, so it doesn't have to go one by one. And again, that just makes that response payload faster. And the reason for that is because if you think about driving to and from work, or to and from the hospital, or to and from your house, there's a lot of travel time in the internet. And so if you can reduce the travel time and just carry all the images in one load, then it's going to be a lot faster.